Hi, my name's Eric McCabe. My wife Ann and I have been asked by a very close friend to work on a very important project this year. That project is childhood poverty. We're coming to you today to educate you a little bit of the problems we're having in the Wyoming Valley and to hopefully inspire you to help join our cause. Without any further ado, let me introduce that close friend, Bill Jones.
Thanks, Eric. I'm Bill Jones. I'm President and CEO of the United Way of Wyoming Valley, and thank you. I'm very, very grateful for your time. The United Way, if you haven't kept up with the changes, the United Way is very different from the United Way that you might remember. You might remember a United Way that was really a fundraising conduit. We are a pass-through organization. Donor would give money to the United Way, and we would spread it out and try to give lots of agencies a little bit of dollars. And there's no question under that model, people got helped. The reality over time is that needs have continued to grow, continue to grow, continue to grow. Years ago, in the wisdom of our board, we wanted to get to the root causes of why need was growing and see if we could have a bigger impact with our donor dollars. And so to make a long story short, we decided to focus on the issues of childhood poverty. 1 out of every 4 kids in Wyoming Valley today are growing up in poverty. Between the 2000 census and now, that rate has increased from 12% to now 26%. So it is a big issue, it's a big challenge, and it affects all of us either directly or indirectly, certainly affecting our schools. So what we did as an organization is we're still using a chunk of our donor dollars to fund the work of agencies, but we're having that work really focus on children and families living in poverty. In addition to funding agencies differently, we also started a number of signature initiatives that have a greater impact on our community. And I'd like to just share a couple of examples. We know that if we want to improve the community, we've got to improve high school graduation rates. The key indicator, believe it or not, for high school graduation rates is reading levels at the 3rd grade. Up until 3rd grade, we're all learning how to read. 4th grade on, we need to read to learn. And the national statistic tested over and over is that 23% of kids coming out of 3rd grade who aren't proficient in reading become that class's dropout rate. And it's predictable with great accuracy. So we started as an organization really focused on a number of reading programs, including a partnership with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. If you know anything about Dolly Parton, her dad, when she was growing up, her dad did not know how to read. And now with her fame and fortune, she's created what she calls the Imagination Library. And by being a partner, we could register kids from birth to 5 years old. And every month a brand new book comes to their home. You might be thinking, that's nice, that's cute. Why is it important? Well, 90% of our brain is developed by age 5. And the single best thing we could do to help develop the brain architecture is to read to those kids from prenatal through school age. We just celebrated our 7,000th child being enrolled in that program, and over 200,000 books in the last 6 years have come into our community to help those kids. We're very proud of that. It's expensive, not to the families, of course, but to us, and that's why we raise the dollars that we raise. That's just one of several reading initiatives that we have. Then we also developed some really key partnerships with schools, and we're meeting kids where they're at. It's a really good strategy. We've learned that kids have lots of barriers to attending school, to doing well in school, and we started working with school officials to develop develop some strategies to help kids move through school with confidence and graduate on time. And I'd like to just share a couple of really key initiatives. One is our nurses' pantry. We learned that so many kids miss a lot of school because they just don't have basic needs. They don't miss school certainly because they're sick, but because if they don't have clothing, the right clothing, if they don't have hygiene products, if they don't have shoes, We have all kind of examples on why kids are missing school. And I'd like to share two examples. Two brothers were sent home from school because they had head lice. No big deal, it happens. They were sent home on the 17th of the month, and that's really key, as part of the story. 10 days after they were sent home, the principal calls the grandmother. They were living with the grandmother because of drugs in the family. The mother couldn't take care of the children. They were living with the grandmother. Since she wasn't well herself, she had to wait till the 3rd of the next month for a Social Security check to come to afford the $18 bottle of medicated shampoo that those kids needed. And so 10 days later, again, sent home on the 17th, 10 days later, they still weren't treated because the grandmother couldn't afford the medication that they needed. So the boys, look at how much school they missed, not because they were bad kids, but because they were poor. In another example, we learned in another school building, again, two brothers were missing. One would go to school 3 days a week, the younger two. The next week, the younger would go 3, the older 2. They kept alternating what days of school they were going to. And when the school just made the assumption that there had to be another sibling at home, one of the boys had to stay home while the mom went to work. Well, it wasn't nearly as complicated. The boys were alternating what days of school they were going to because they were sharing the same pair of sneakers. Look at how much school they were missing. Again, not because they were bad kids, but because they were poor. So we've created the Nurses Pantry, which is now in 27 school buildings in 8 school districts, providing all kind of health and hygiene items, clothing, you name the supplies. If the kids need it, the school nurse is able to get it for them. We love our school nurses. We also have a budget that if they either run out of supplies or something comes up that a child needs, let's take care of that need so it's a non-issue. They're back to learning. It's been a very, very powerful program for us, and the schools love it, and we continue to grow it every single year. Then in working with the school nurses, we learned that 84% of kids who do not pass the school's vision screening test do not get the glasses they need. So we were able to get funding. We partnered with an organization that is insured to provide health care. They've subcontracted with an optometrist, and now we're going from building to building to building in 4 school districts. And in the last 2 years, we put on glasses on 600 kids, faces. It's just powerful. And I'd like to just share one story that happened last year. We went to a school building, and we can't get all the kids done in one sitting. So we rotate building to building to building. We came back to Heights Elementary School, and a little girl who received her glasses saw our program coordinator and said to the program coordinator, "I'm so excited, I love my new glasses." And of course, our program coordinator may not, can't remember all these kids' names. She sees 20, 25 kids, a week. But she said, "Well, tell me, sweetheart, why do you love your new glasses?" And the 3rd grade girl said, "Because now I don't have to hold onto the wall anymore when I walk down the hallway." Think about if that was your child. Your children, if Eric is sending you this video, I have no doubt your children are being taken care of. Your children don't need the help that the United Way is providing. But yet, so many kids need this help. That's why we come to you. Eric and Ann have been great, co-chairs. We're coming to you to ask you if you would consider support of the United Way because of the 26% of kids who are growing up in poverty in Wyoming Valley. They need all of our help. If you can consider this message, if you consider the work that we're doing, and if it is worth a donation, please consider it, because we know because of your help, kids will get the support that they need to do better. Thank you so much.